You wake up at 3:14 a.m. because the building is shaking. Not an earthquake. Missiles. Incoming. You lie in bed and count the seconds between the alert and the impact. 3 seconds, that means close. Close enough that you should probably be in the shelter. But you're not moving. You're staring at your phone, watching the messages pour in. Casualty reports. Oil prices spiking. Enemy state media claiming your boss is dead. A rumor spreading that the strike hit the command center. You're not in the command center. You're in a fortified office building with a cot in the back room because you haven't been home in 6 days. But the rumor doesn't care about facts. Rumors move faster than missiles. You get up. You make coffee in the dark because the power is flickering. You open your laptop. You have 14 drafts of today's statement. None of them work anymore. Overnight, the war changed. Again, the enemy launched retaliatory strikes on 3 different fronts. The Allied Air Force hit another target in the enemy capital. There are reports of a high-level kill, unconfirmed, but the foreign press is running with it. And now you have to write something that sounds like you knew this was coming, like it's all part of the plan, like chaos is strategy. You start typing. This is a historic moment. You delete it. Too grand. We are making steady progress. You delete it. Too vague. The regime is collapsing. You delete it. Too optimistic. What you need is a sentence that sounds huge enough to justify the war, controlled enough to calm the public, and successful enough to stop people from thinking this is spiraling into a regional disaster with no end. You type, "We are systematically dismantling the threat that has terrorized this region for decades." You stare at it. It's not true. It's not false. It's a sentence that survives until the next crisis. By 4 a.m., you're on a call. Not the full cabinet, the inner circle, the people who actually decide things. You're on mute, listening. They're not talking about your statement. They're talking about the rumor. Enemy media is claiming your boss was killed in the strike. Social media is amplifying it. Deep fakes are circulating. Someone needs to kill this narrative before it dominates the morning news cycle. Someone says, "We need video now." Everyone looks at you. Not because you're a filmmaker, because you're the person who decides what the boss says when the video camera turns on. The call ends. You have 30 minutes to write a script for a video that proves your boss is alive. Not a formal address, just a quick clip. Casual, defiant, human. You write, "I'm here." The enemy spreads lies because they're desperate. "We will continue until the job is done." 3 sentences, 15 seconds. You send it. The video gets filmed in a cafe. Your boss sits with coffee, smiling slightly, delivering the lines like they're improvised. The video goes live at 5:47 a.m. Within an hour, it's everywhere. The rumor dies. Your job is done until the next rumor. Morning is damage control. The Allied partner released a statement overnight. It's supportive, but there's a phrase that worries you. "We expect this campaign to be limited in scope and duration." Limited. That's a word that constrains you. Your boss has been saying the war will take some time, but won't be endless. The Allied partner is saying limited. Those words don't mean the same thing. If you're not careful, the gap between them becomes a story. So you spend an hour rewriting the morning statement to make "some time" sound compatible with limited. It's linguistic gymnastics, but that's the job. By mid-morning, there's another problem. The enemy launched a retaliatory strike, not at military targets, at civilian infrastructure, power plants, water facilities. The press is calling it indiscriminate. Humanitarian groups are calling it a war crime. The foreign ministry is demanding answers. You need a line. Something that acknowledges the attack without sounding defensive, something that pivots back to the bigger narrative. You write, "The regime's desperation is proof that our strategy is working. They attack civilians because they cannot stop our forces. It's cold. It's true enough. It works." Afternoon is worse. There's a missile impact site. Residential area. Families killed. The boss is going there. You need remarks, not a speech. Just a few sentences he can say to the cameras while standing in the rubble. The tone has to be grief plus defiance. You write, "We mourn every life lost, but we will not stop. We will not let terror win." You send it. You feel nothing. Not because you're heartless, because you've written this exact statement 9 times in the past 2 weeks. The words have stopped meaning anything. They're just sounds that fill the silence between explosions. By late afternoon, the intelligence update comes in. The high-level kill from last night is confirmed. Major enemy figure, one of the top 5. This is huge. This is the kind of thing that justifies the entire war, but it's also complicated because if you celebrate too much, you look like you're gloating over death. If you don't celebrate enough, you look weak. And if you claim this means the war's almost over and then the war continues for another 6 months, you look like a liar. So you write something in the middle. A significant blow has been struck against the regime's leadership. This is the result of precise intelligence and strategic action. The campaign continues. You send it. The boss approves. The statement goes live. Within an hour, the enemy releases a video of another leader vowing revenge. Your victory statement is already obsolete. Evening is the formal press conference. The boss is speaking to domestic and international media. You've prepared remarks. They have to do 5 things at once. Reassure the domestic audience that the government is in control. Promise the allied partner this isn't an endless war. Hint at regime change without fully owning it. Mourn the dead and project strength. You've been working on this for 6 hours. The final version is 3 minutes long. Every sentence is calibrated. Every word is tested. You watch from the back of the room as the boss delivers it. Halfway through, the sirens go off. Incoming missiles. The press conference pauses. Everyone moves to the shelter. The cameras keep rolling. The boss finishes the statement from the shelter. It's surreal. It's also perfect footage. The enemy attacked while your boss was speaking. It proves the threat is real. It justifies everything. By night, you're exhausted. You haven't eaten. You've had 8 coffees and a granola bar. Your back hurts from sitting. Your eyes hurt from the screen, but you can't stop. There's another statement due in 3 hours. The Allied Congress is demanding answers about strategy and costs. Your boss is testifying tomorrow. You need talking points, 5 bullets. Clear, firm, defensible. You write them in 20 minutes. We did not choose this war. We are fighting to eliminate a threat that endangered the entire region. We are working closely with our allies. We have a clear strategy and defined objectives. We will finish the job. You send them. You know they're inadequate. You know the questions will be harder than the answers. But that's not your problem. Your problem is making sure the boss has something to say that doesn't make things worse. Midnight. You're lying on the cot. You can't sleep. Your phone is next to you, face up, glowing. Messages keep coming. Missile alerts, casualty updates, enemy propaganda, allied concerns, oil disruptions, spillover into neighboring countries. Each message is a new problem that will require a new statement. Think about the job you thought you'd have. Writing speeches, crafting arguments, making history. This isn't that. This is crisis management in real time. This is turning catastrophes into talking points. This is making a war that's spreading across 3 countries sound like a controlled operation with a clear endpoint. You think about the contradictions you're managing. You have to make the war sound historic enough to justify it, but limited enough to calm people. You have to hint at regime change, but not own responsibility for what comes after. You have to tell people under missile fire that everything is under control, while also preparing them for the possibility that this lasts longer than expected. You have to write victory statements while the enemy is launching retaliatory strikes. You have to mourn civilian deaths while celebrating military successes. Every sentence is a tightrope. Every word is a trap. You get up. You make more coffee. You open your laptop. There's a new crisis. Enemy media is claiming the allied partner is pressuring your boss to stop. You need a response, something that shows unity without admitting friction. You write, "We are grateful for our allies' support. We are working together toward shared objectives. We will not stop until the mission is complete." It's diplomatic. It's vague. It buys you 24 hours. That's all you need. By 2 a.m., you're writing tomorrow's speech, not the congressional testimony. The other one, the speech to the public, the one that has to explain why the war is expanding, why casualties are rising, why the enemy is still retaliating, and why all of this is actually proof that you're winning. You write, "The regime is in its final days. Their desperation is visible in every attack they launch. They know they cannot win. We are dismantling the infrastructure of terror. This will take time, but we will not waver." You read it back, it sounds strong. It also sounds like something you wrote 2 weeks ago, and 2 weeks before that. The same argument, recycled, repackaged, delivered with the same certainty. Because that's what war messaging is. Not new ideas, just the same idea, repeated until people believe it or stop listening. You think about the people you're writing for, the families under missile fire who need to believe their government has a plan, the allied lawmakers who need to believe this won't become another decades-long quagmire, the enemy population who need to believe this war is about their regime, not them, the international community who need to believe this is proportional and strategic. You're writing for all of them, and they all want different things, so you write sentences that mean everything and nothing, sentences that survive scrutiny without making promises, sentences that sound like answers without actually answering. You save the draft, you close your laptop, you lie back down. The building shakes again. Another missile, closer this time. You don't move. You just lie there staring at the ceiling thinking about tomorrow. Another press conference. Another video response to another rumor. Another statement calibrated to 5 different audiences. Another speech promising victory while preparing people for a longer fight. Another day of turning chaos into narrative. This is the job. Not writing speeches. Managing contradictions. Not crafting arguments. Killing rumors. Not making history. Surviving the news cycle. You're not close enough to power power to change the strategy, but you're close enough to be blamed if the messaging fails. You can't stop the missiles. You can't end the war. You can't bring back the dead. All you can do is write sentences that make it sound like someone's in control. You close your eyes. You know you won't sleep because in 3 hours, you'll wake up to more messages, more crises, more rumors, more retaliation, and you'll open your laptop and start writing again. This is a historic moment. Delete. We are making steady progress. Delete. The regime is collapsing. Delete. You'll try every combination of words until you find the one that works for today. And tomorrow, you'll do it again. Because the alternative is silence. And in war, silence is surrender. So you write. You write through the missile alerts and the casualty reports and the allied pressure and the enemy propaganda and the domestic anger and the international condemnation. You write knowing that half the country will call it brilliant and the other half will call it lies. You write knowing that history will judge you, but you won't be around to defend yourself. You write because that's the job. Not truth, not healing, not peace. Just words. Words that keep the government standing, the public believing, the allies supporting, and the enemy uncertain. Words that buy one more day of war. You're a speechwriter during a regional conflict, and every morning you wake up to a world that's more chaotic than when you went to sleep. Every evening you go to bed knowing tomorrow will be worse, and every hour in between you write. You write sentences that justify the unjustifiable. You write promises you can't keep. You write certainty you don't feel. You write victory while standing in ruins, and you tell yourself it matters. Because if it doesn't matter, then what the hell are you doing?